So this is where we left off in the previous clip. I simply copy and paste these pleats that we created and position them in a circle manner around the waist. And now I am just going to connect all of these with my segment sewing tool. So I am going to grab my segment sewing tool and go one by one, just connecting this end with this piece, then this one with this, just connecting waistband and also pleats together, then connect this with the next one, doing the process again, and connect this with the last one, and at last don't forget to connect the end with the start one, and also check in the 3D window everything is going alright, and so far so good. And before we simulate, we just need to unfreeze the waistband, because if we left them to freeze, they are not going to change their position. So select with transform pattern tool and right click and choose unfreeze. Okay, now simulate. So now it's look little bit funny because the outfit underneath it is frozen. So what I am going to do is just select all the patterns we created before, right click and unfreeze and simulate. Now I think the waistband can be holding around her waist tighter. So I am going to select the waistband pieces. I just make them smaller by dragging these points inwards and simulate. I think I can afford to go even smaller. So you can freely manipulate the length of the waistband once you already applied the pleats, because everything updates automatically. Okay, there we go. Now as you noticed, I did not connect the seam lines, the pleats right here, because I also want to short to be visible. You can also freely close the pleats dress if you want to create different kind of effects. So remember, in order to implement pleats in MD, the easiest way is to create only one part of the dress, starting off with just one piece of the waistband and multiplying that length by 3. Those 3 parts will generate one single pleat, and it will be shown on to the waistband with the help of the pleats sewing tool. Do not forget to add internal lines to pleated part, because without them pleating cannot be implemented. To avoid any issue when simulating, it is best to keep the pleats short and then slowly prolong them to the length we want our skirt to be. And as you can see, I have already done that. So if you want to do the same, you just grab your edit pattern tool and you select all of the lower points of the patterns that consist skirts and simply prolong them and simulate when you are done. So now the dress is a bit longer than it was. Sometimes the simulation may get little messy, but you just need to leave it out of it. So this is the final look that we have achieved in the end. Now you can also play with this outfit. As I said, you can close the gap that I have here, or you can leave it open for the shorts. I actually also deleted the pocket that were in this part of the shorts because I thought it was little big too much. And I also made the waistband even tinier, so it's hugging her waist more than before. And before we move on to the next module, let's quickly go through what we have learned throughout the course of this one. So we have further strengthened our knowledge of sewing and creating patterns, and also learning how to manipulate the seam lines, moving them and making them longer if needed, and so on. We have devoted some attention to create details using settings like shrinkage, weft, wrap, manipulating particles distance, and using tacking. We also got use the layer clone over feature with the pockets and waistband. And finally we have a thorough look at the pleat tool and pleat sewing. Now with all this knowledge we are able to move on to the next module where we will take on another creating way of sewing in MD, and that is by creating a handbag.